You have got a busy week ahead of you. On Sunday, you plan on doing grocery shopping and running some errands. Maybe you'll ask out that cute cashier and take her on a date. On Monday, you have to go into work. You've got a big presentation this week and you want to make a good impression. Wednesday is the night of the big presentation. We really need to turn some heads. Friday evening, it's time for that date with that cashier. And finally, it's Saturday. Maybe you'll spend the day hanging out with your best friends. Something I realized is we're never the same person on 2 different days. Every day of the week we have different responsibilities. We take different roles based on the environment we're in, based on the people we're with. In fact, our mannerisms, our personality, our very identity adapts to our surroundings. So why shouldn't our fragrance? So today we're talking about 5 designer fragrances that I'm gonna keep for life. The way I've arranged this list is I've split up the fragrances by occasion. In my opinion, there are 3 main facets to everyone's identity. Number 1 is just your day-to-day life. Running errands, hanging out, relaxing, anything that you do in between the other 2 facets. Number 2 is work. It's what you put your passion into, what you do to make a living. And number 3 is play. Now this is where we have fun. So here are the 5 main categories for today's video. Under life, we just have our everyday versatile fragrance. Under work, we have our everyday work fragrance and our special events fragrance for formal events. And under play, we have our everyday play fragrance for hanging out with friends or watching a movie, and then our special events play fragrance for something like a date. These are going to be my 5 designer fragrances for life. And I'm not kidding when I say that. I've literally sold the rest of my designer fragrances. Hello everyone, my name is Surya, and on this channel we expand the fragrance experience to all 5 of your senses. If that sounds exciting, hit the subscribe button and let's look at my 5 designer fragrances for life. First things first, we need something that we can just wear every day. On the days we don't want to think too much, maybe we're just going to the gym, maybe we're doing some grocery shopping, some laundry, or maybe we're just sitting around the house but still want to smell good. This is the everyday versatile fragrance, and my pick is Chanel's Allure Homme Edition Blanche. Now, the simplest way to describe this fragrance is some kind of creamy lemon dessert. It reminds me of when I took my trip to Italy and I had this lemon sorbet, lemon gelato, lemon meringue pie, things of that nature. Now, citrus fragrances in general tend to come off as sharp and don't last very long. This one unfortunately does have weak performance, maybe 4 to 6 hours, but the opening is so beautiful, it's so smooth, and it's not sharp, so that makes it worth it for me. Especially for situations where we're just going to the gym or laying around the house, the poor performance is not that big of a deal. Now, that smooth citrus is complemented by other smooth, creamy ingredients. We've got vanilla in here, we've got sandalwood, we've got tonka bean. All of these ingredients work together to create a gourmand feeling that's not too feminine and still wearable every day. What I really love about this fragrance is it works in both hot and cold weather, and both day and night. This is because citrus really shines in hot weather. It becomes a little more zesty and it jumps off your skin. But in colder weather, the gourmand nature takes over a little bit. That smooth, creamy vanilla and sandalwood really tend to shine. And that is why Chanel's Allure Homme Edition Blanche is my versatile everyday. Now this one can be a little hard to find if you're looking at your local retailers, but it's pretty easy to find online or at duty-free stores in airports. I bought my bottle for about $140, but you should be able to find it for around $120 for 100 ml. Now let's move on to our everyday work fragrance. So what does a professional everyday fragrance smell like? Well, it needs to smell approachable. It can't be too sweet or complex, and it can't project too far because you don't want it to be cloying to your friends at work. Usually professional fragrances tend to be simple. Some lavender, some powdery notes, something clean, but in my opinion, those might be a little boring. I like to go for something a little extra. That's why my pick for the professional everyday fragrance is Boucheron's Jaipur EDP. Now the story of this fragrance is very intriguing. It is said to be modeled after Jaipur, a city in Rajasthan, India. Now anyone who's been to Jaipur knows that they have this beautiful masala chai. Masala chai is basically a simple milk tea, but it is amplified by the use of spices. That is exactly what this fragrance captures. It might be a simple powdery fragrance, but it's amplified by the use of Indian spices like cinnamon and nutmeg. But the spices in this fragrance are not very cloying. In fact, it leans more sweet than spicy. The spices are just used to add an exotic accent to the heart of the fragrance. In my opinion, it's a very simple powdery vanilla with a little bit extra, which makes it perfect for work. You can find Jaipur EDP for about $40 to $50 on discounters, which makes this an absolute steal of a fragrance. Now let's move on to our special formal events fragrance. Now, if we have a big event like that presentation and we want to make a strong impression, we can't wear what we've been wearing to work every single day. No, we need something bold, we need something unique, we need something that most people haven't smelt before. But at the same time, it needs to be respectful. It can't be too sensual because this is not a date. We'll get to that later. And it can't be too juvenile or cloying. That's why my pick for the formal events fragrance is Tom Ford's Noir Extreme. Now, don't get me wrong, this is a bit of a sweet fragrance, but the beauty of this fragrance is it's perfectly balanced. There is a vanillic sweetness, but there's also a very unique note in here that defines the heart of this fragrance. That note is kulfi. Now, kulfi is a South Asian dessert. It is basically the Indian version of an ice cream, but the sweetness of kulfi is very balanced with some spices and some aromatics. In this fragrance, the same aromatics are used to balance the vanilla. We have cardamom, we have nutmeg, we have saffron. All of these ingredients make that sweet heart a little bit more palatable in a professional environment. There's also rose and orange blossom, and these florals actually make the fragrance a little bit more exotic. Now, you know me, I don't want to wear something that everyone else will be wearing. That's why I love these fragrances, because they have an exotic touch to them that most people here aren't used to. Now, as the fragrance dries down, it does get a little bit darker and woodier, and the creaminess of the vanilla is perfectly supplemented by a creamy sandalwood. Now, because of the nature of this fragrance, it might work well in a date setting as well, but for me, this is a fragrance that commands respect while still being respectful. Now, there is also a parfum version, and this is the EDP. In my opinion, the parfum is a little bit too dark. It's not as well balanced as the EDP, but you should smell it for yourself to decide which one you like better. You can get Tom Ford Noir Extreme EDP for less than $100 for 50 ml. I would recommend buying a smaller bottle because this is only going to be for special events. Unless, of course, you're bold enough to rock this every day, in which case, absolutely go for it. Now, before we move on to the playful fragrances, I want to talk to you about something real quick. I wanted to quickly thank you guys for bringing me up to 500 subscribers. I'm glad to see that people enjoy these videos and share my passion for fragrance. If you want to connect with me one-on-one, you should follow me on Instagram. You can find me by searching @sunscentfragrance. On Instagram, I'm live almost every few days. I talk about the perfumes that I've been enjoying that week. I talk to perfumers and other reviewers in the community. And one more thing, I'm actually currently learning to make my own fragrances. You can see all my ingredients back here. You can follow along this journey and many other journeys on my Instagram. Feel free to DM me once you send me a follow, and I'll see you over there. Back to the video. Now, what if we want an everyday fragrance that has a little bit more kick to it? Maybe we're going to hang out with our friends. Maybe we're going to the movies or the mall. Or maybe we're just going for a walk in the park with our special someone. When I think of a playful fragrance, I think about something a little bit fruity and juicy. But the fruits need to be balanced by something maybe exotic or spicy. That's why my pick for the best playful everyday fragrance is Moschino's Toy Boy. Now, Toy Boy is a bit polarizing in the industry because some people say it leans a bit feminine. But this is what I always say about fragrance. It's not what you wear, it's how you wear it. If you have the confidence to pull off Toy Boy, absolutely go for it. I personally wear a lot of women's fragrances because I enjoy how they smell on me. But here's the other thing to note. Our skin chemistry literally changes what the fragrance does. My skin tends to make things a little woodier and smokier, so feminine fragrances actually become very unisex on my skin. Now, the reason I consider Toy Boy as playful is because of the heart of pear. It's a pretty nice, juicy pear that is perfectly balanced with a very interesting rose note. The rose is not a dense, jammy rose that you would find in Middle Eastern fragrances. Think of something like rose water. It's a very light, watery rose. Now there's also a little touch of a fruity floral spice using pink pepper. The beauty of pink pepper is it adds spice without coming off as peppery at all. This is an amazing fragrance if you want to show a little bit of character, if you want to be a little more fun and playful. And it'll also last the entire day. You can get a small 30 ml bottle for less than $30 at a discounter, which makes this an absolute must-have in your collection. Now let's move on to that final special events fragrance. Now this fragrance is going to be reserved for those special memories in your life. Maybe you're going on a first date with someone that could be the one. Maybe it's your birthday and you're celebrating. Or maybe there's something that's once in a lifetime that's about to happen. In this case, me personally, I go for something sweet, something rich, something dense. That's why my pick for my playful special events is Azzaro's Most Wanted EDP. Now this one is a rich, sweet caramel fragrance. But just like every other sweet fragrance in this video, this one is balanced by a beautiful, spicy cardamom. Now to really understand this fragrance, you need to picture this sticky toffee. It's dense, it's rich, it wraps around you like a warm hug. It is, in one word, intoxicating. It achieves the perfect sweetness without being cloying, without being juvenile, without being annoying. It is probably my favorite warm, sweet, spicy fragrance. So next time something big is happening in your life, try this one and tell me how it goes. And those have been my 5 designers for life. Now, as you can see in the background, my collection has been growing and growing. And as I've purchased more niche and indie fragrances, I've realized I don't really wear my designers that often. This is why I have been selling off most of my collection. In fact, I got my collection down from 120 bottles to about 70. And I'm still going. That's why the title of this video is serious. I actually only have these designers left. Everything else has been sold or is on the sell list. In my next video, I'm going to talk about why I'm selling off most of my fragrances and why you should keep a small, curated collection. This is, in my opinion, the best way to enjoy this hobby without breaking the bank. If that sounds exciting, stay tuned, and until then, keep smelling great. Thank you for watching.